Hi, this is the Forgetful Scholar, and I'm Jessica. Welcome back. So this week was a pretty good week for books, I think. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. So I read Madison Square Murders, Memento Mori, Book 1 by c.s.poe. Now this is an author we're very accustomed to by now on this channel. And this is another series of theirs, and I hope this is a beginning of another whole arc. That would be fantastic. So this follows a detective for the Cold Case Files, the Cold Case Squad, and Detective Larkin, who we find out through the story has this super eidetic memory. So he can't forget anything. Also, he can't move on from anything. He kind of reminded me of Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. So when he remembers something, he's in that moment again. And most people think like it's a great superpower and things like that. He has a lot of emotional issues going on. And also we meet Detective Doyle, who is with the art department for the New York City Police. So he does crime scene sketches and things like that. And he's kind of the polar opposite. He's very easygoing and relaxed, very charming. I gave this book, I kind of bounced between 3 and 4 stars, but I did really enjoy the dynamic between the two. The only reason maybe about 3 stars was, no, this book's a 4 stars. The author kind of started this off with Larkin in the middle of a crumbling marriage, which is kind of an interesting place to jump off from. So in the beginning I wasn't too keen on it. It's kind of obvious the author wanted to have a story with a crumbling marriage, with depression, with things like that. So it was beautifully written. It just, the cheating aspect kind of got me a little bit. And there isn't, I wouldn't say there's any physical cheating, spoiler. I wouldn't say there's any physical cheating. There is like a kiss or two that Doyle stops. But there is definitely emotional cheating. Also, the husband, Noah, because we're from Larkin's perspective. So we see Noah in a very not flattering light. But that also happened in the other series of Snow and Winter with the Sebastian's ex Neil. But then, you know, throughout the series we started to like him a little bit. In fact, Neil does a little guest star appearance in this one. And I find myself really liking Neil at this point. Like, I really want him to come out of the closet and be happy with himself and maybe find his own, you know, happy ever after. So I hope, you know, he gets like a little book or something like that. I would really love that. And it was, and Larkin and Doyle are sweet. It's just the fact that like Larkin is still technically married that kind of gets me a little like, oof. But Larkin and Doyle agree that even if they're just in each other's lives for friends, they're happy with that. The end, and the mystery is very interesting, and the end of the mystery, because, you know, it's a serial killer mystery, and the end of the mystery was very satisfying and very like high, like fast paced, and there's like an action scene. It was very fun. I really liked it. The love line storyline was kind of left open-ended. It almost seemed like more of a prologue, which I'm fine with because, again, Larkin is technically married. So I didn't mind that they're doing a very, like, I don't mind that the author is doing a very slow build, slow burn for this romance. I'm okay with that. So I did like it. So just because the starting off point was with Larkin being married, give it a 3 star, but I can't wait till the next books come out. I do want to see, you know, I want to see Larkin happy. Poor little sad bean. Like, poor little sad bean. And you really are inside his head and how much his super memory tortures him. And you just, I want to like wrap him up in a quilt and hand him a cookie. You know what I mean? It's very much like that. So I hope this is a start of a new series for her, for the author, because I can't wait. That would be so much fun. That would be so much fun. Let's see. Okay, and the next book is Scalpels and Psychopaths, Dr. Maxwell Thornton Murder Mystery number 2, book 2 by s.c.wynne. Again, these two are repeating offenders on this channel, repeating authors. I'm just liking their stuff so much. So this is a direct continuation of where the first book ended up. So we follow that murder that happened at the end of it, which is a theme. We do get both Maxwell and Royce's POVs, which I really, really loved. And their relationship is sort of slowly building as well. So you kind of get a little bit of their insecurities here. And Royce isn't sure if Max is going to stay in Rainydale. Max isn't sure if he's going to stay in Rainydale because he keeps almost getting murdered. You know, like, he's just... I don't blame him. He's kind of in this weird place. You know, he's trying to be better with people, things like that. So the love line, this is very sweet. I'm really here for it. I'm rooting for these two. The murder was very interesting, very whodunit, get the clues. And again, Maxwell's sort of like thrown into this, not because he's trying to find the bad guy, like that's Royce's job, he's the sheriff. It's more like he gets dragged in by circumstances and he's like, well, all right, here I am. Which I don't know, I really enjoyed it. So this one's definitely 4 stars, and it ends on a cliffhanger, and you bet I want to read the third one. You got me. You know what you're doing. You're leaving on a cliffhanger because you want people to buy the third book. Well done, because yes, ma'am or sir, I will. Aren't you happy you're here on this channel? Alright, so where is... I usually have these all queued up, so that's weird. Where did it... Oh, there it is. Sorry about that. So the third book by k.j.charles is The Magpie Lord, A Charm of Magpies, book 1. And I really like this cover. Don't you? It's very... I don't know. I really like it. So this one was an interesting one. So, Crane, so let's start. The world building was phenomenal. The magic system was very interesting. The warlocks, the witches, the judicators, the practitioners, that was very fascinating, seamlessly done. I kind of wish I read this one 2 weeks earlier during Halloween, because not that it was scary, but it had this sort of macabre Poe-esque blanket over the story with the descriptions and the magpies and like what was happening. It was just like, not creepypasta, but just sort of a more noir, grayscale kind of story, and I really enjoyed it. I don't often say this, but I do think this book could have benefited from maybe 50 more pages and things like that. The mystery was phenomenal. The characters of Crane and Stefan, so Lucien and Stefan, are fantastic. Stefan is a practitioner. He has magic, and he is called upon by Lucien to help him because someone cursed him. And Lucien is a very interesting character. They're both very interesting characters. The only thing that makes it a 3-star for me is that it definitely had the feeling of watching a new show, but instead of starting from episode 1, you started episode 9. It seemed like an episodic kind of series with an overarching bad guy. And you don't get confused or anything. I think the writer did a really good job of kind of explaining, and you're kind of in there and you don't get confused and you kind of can guess what's going on. It just felt like there was a lot left out of the book that I would have loved to have read with flashbacks or so forth. So that was kind of like, I mean, this is fantastic, but I really kind of want to know about that, and I want to know about that. Can we... Okay, so you have a partner, so Stefan has a partner with his practice to help people, and she sounds very interesting. Okay, and then, okay, so there's an ultimate bad guy, but you don't really see the bad guy because it already was taken care of. It definitely felt like I was in the middle of a series instead of starting from the beginning, which I was like, okay, all right. And the love line, was cute. I think I liked it. I liked them as a couple at the end. I just felt again like it could have done with a little bit more pages, because it felt like Stefan hated Lucien. Oh, he realizes Lucien is a good guy. He's attracted. Okay, and then boom, they're kind of in love, and it just felt like it was very cut and paste. Like I didn't feel like there was a really good transition from the hate to the falling in love part. It felt very like rushed, because it seemed like the story was focusing more on the scary mystery, which is fine. I do think maybe like a paragraph here and there a little more to show like the growing attraction that they're finding it. It just needed a little bit more. And poor Lucien is like the good, honest, good guy born into just like a family of horrible people. His older brother was horrible, horrible monster. And his father either was complacent because he didn't do anything, or he didn't know. It sounds like more he was just happy to hide his older brother's crimes. And he hated Lucien because, spoiler, this is MM, so he hated Lucien because Lucien was homosexual, which is, unfortunately, you know, how it goes sometimes, unfortunately. So that was very interesting. And I did really like Lucien and his manservant, Merrick, and I kind of would love a buddy cop kind of series with them, and their adventures in Shanghai. Like, that sounds so interesting. And when, it kind of bummed me out when Lucien was telling Stefan about, like, explaining some of his tattoos. We didn't get that story. We just got Stefan reacting to it, like laughing and things like that. And I was like, man, this would have been perfect for like a flashback, you know? Ooh, too bad, you know? And usually I'm not the biggest fan of flashbacks. Like, they're necessary evil in storytelling, and done well, they could be really entertaining. But I wanted more. Like, this story itself, I just felt like there could have been a little bit more to it. So that's why it's 3 stars. I am thinking about, because there's 2 other stories in the series, and I am thinking about it pretty hard if I want to read them, because I did like the world, and I like them as a couple at the end of it. Like, the story, love line story, was really satisfying at the end of it. They're very sweet. The mystery end of it was very fast-paced. I liked the closure to it, and I like how there was stuff left unanswered, hopefully, for the next stories, which makes me really want to read it. But, you know, that's the point, isn't it? Okay, so our last book, and this one, so around the holiday season, you know, I guess I get a little sentimental, or maybe a little, you know, a little sadder, a little sentimental and things like that. So I tend to revisit books that I've already read. It's just, you know, I have a hankering, oh, I want to read, you know, this and this couple again, or, you know, I want to read this again. So I do. So this one is an old favorite, Tender Rebel, a Mallory family story. I think it's the 2nd book in the Mallory family series from Johanna, Lindsey. And this is Tony Mallory and Rosalind Chedwick. And I just really, I don't know, I just felt like reading it. I don't think this story has always been like a 4-star for me. It's not a 5-star, but I really just, I don't know, I wanted to drop in on them like old friends, I guess, you know? So, Anthony Mallory is the youngest of the Mallory family, and he is a rank. Very charming scoundrel rank. We love it. And Rosalind is Scottish, and she's on the run. So basically, her guardian, Duncan, died and left her everything, so she's very, very wealthy. And she goes to England to get married for, you know, the season, because her guardian's, the relationship always kind of confused me. Guardian's youngest grandson's nephew, or something like that, is after the estate. You know, his money, his land, he's after it. But it's all in Rosalind's name, so he asked Rosalind to marry him a couple times. And she said no, because Duncan hated him, so she hates him. Fine. So she goes to England to marry somebody, you know, to save herself. And Duncan leaves her with the advice of there's no better husband than a reformed rank. So that in mind, she goes to England and she meets the Mallorys. And this is always fun because this one, the majority of their love story is done after they're married. So they get married pretty early on. And this story is taking place at the same time the Mallory book 3, which is Gentle Rebel with James Mallory and Georgina Anderson, takes place. So I always like it's always so fun to interchange those. So you see James come in and out. Well, of course, because it's a Mallory family novel. So James is always somewhere, whether he's like a main character or a pretty big secondary character, which is sometimes it's a little annoying, sometimes it's fun. So it kind of depends, I guess, on my mood, if I want to deal with James Mallory in a book or not. Rosalind is one of my favorite female characters because I think it's gotta be so hard to write a character that has a temper but is still really charming. So she has a temper, but she's still really charming. Like, I still like her. You know, it's not like a temper where she's, you know, throwing things or breaking things. It's a temper where she puts her foot in her mouth a lot. And there's just something really kind of adorable about her, you know? So I really like it. And I haven't revisited this story since I read the last of the, the newer Mallory stories. And one of them has to do with his daughter. So far, 2 of the Mallory stories have to do with his older daughters. So, you know, reading this, I kind of already knew, you know, about their kids and their kids' stories. So I was like, it was very like cozy and cute. It really brought like a lot of cuteness this week, which was really, I mean, I had fun. So, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, I hope they don't mind me rereading old favorites. But I just love them. You know, I'm sure I'm gonna revisit more of them. I'm already thinking about reading Magic of You. It is a Mallory story with Amy Mallory, their niece, Tony's niece, who she has to be, yeah, like one of my favorite female characters. But that's a different book. If I do revisit it this holiday season, I'll talk about it. So that was my week. This is a little, you know, I had a good week. You know, they were good stories. Definitely a new writer I'm gonna check out. Hopefully new series other favorite writers are starting to pump out, so that would be good. So yeah, I don't want to, but it's time for me to get back to the real world. See you later.